This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall. We request anyone wishing to address council, please wait for the mayor to recognize you. Please state your name and address for the record, and please remember, all comments must be kept to 3 minutes or less.
Thank you. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Coombs?
Here.
Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Here.
Mayor Sippel?
Here. Okay, we have nothing in the work session. We'll move right into the consent agenda. Anybody from council want to comment on the consent agenda?
No comment.
Okay, no comments from council. Anybody from the public want to comment on the consent agenda only? I see none. We'll close the public portion.
Approval of the minutes, September 7, 2022. Resolutions 2022-292 through 2022-303.
Is there a motion to move forward?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes. Engineer report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first project to talk about is Cloverdale, Evergreen, and Spruce storm sewer improvements. So the township received an NJDCA grant in the amount of $400,000. And this project was awarded to Fred Chavone Construction. So the contractor began work on the week of August 22nd by clearing out the area between Spruce and Evergreen Avenue to make way for these storm sewer improvements. And they plan to start this work on Thursday now that the material has arrived. And the expected completion date is the end of October. The Clem Mulligan Sports Complex. So we're going to add a little bit of drainage there to address some low-lying areas. And this work is going to be completed once the necessary materials arrive. And will be coordinated with the Recreation Department with the different sports that are going on there. Next is the reconstruction of Maury, Harvard, Peters, and Howland Avenue. The storm sewer improvements and the concrete work are now complete, and the contractor is progressing on road stabilization and paving operations. The reconstruction of Miami Avenue was added, and this goes from Peters Road to the dead end of that street. And this was approved at this meeting. The expected completion date is the beginning to middle of November for this project. Diamond Beach Park improvements. This project is currently in the design phase, and our office, as well as the help from the township, presented this to the Cape May County Open Space Board on August 23rd, and there was very favorable feedback for this project, and we're just waiting for their comments. Next is the reconstruction of Fire Lane. Township received a $170,000 grant for this project from the NJDOT. This project is currently advertised for public bid, with a bid opening scheduled for this Wednesday, September 21st. The replacement of various pavilions throughout the township. We received quotes, and the manufacturer provided drawings to our office for these various pavilions. And the project's currently in the design phase, and we're hoping to get this project out to bid very shortly. And finally is the pool renovations. This project includes repairing the pool plumbing and replacing the surrounding concrete. The survey for this project is now complete, and it's currently in the design phase. Any questions on any of those projects?
Yes, Mallory.
Yes.
Have some people back there because obviously they're tearing up the asphalt, that driveways. They said the worker's been really great and telling people, well, we're going to be tearing out here. Is there any way to get little ramps or lips put in for some of these people that live? Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely, the under the pavement there, they can ramp up some of that gravel there.
That's all, yeah, they're just looking for something, they love the work, they
Yeah.
love what's happening, but he said, when they asked us to move the car, I got this today, he goes, all of a sudden, there's a lip like 6 to 8 inches, he goes,
Yeah.
we're not getting back up there.
Yeah, definitely. You can do that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No. All right, thank you. Get something, Mr. Laffey?
Yeah, Cody, they did on Friday send comments back from the Open Space Board, and I'll share them with you tomorrow. There's without a doubt some redesign that has to happen on that, and we
Yeah.
can review that together and go over it and try and resubmit that
good.
in the next couple weeks. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this time we're going to open up to the public. I'd like to remind everybody that we ask you to hold your comments at 3 minutes or less. Just to remind everybody that have not attended many of our public meetings, it's not open for question and answer period or debate. It's basically for comments to council. So at this point, anybody from the public want to come up to the microphone and address council? Yes, sir.
I'm Scheid, representing the clubhouse, POA at 201 Clubhouse Drive, and the association. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, and Mr. Manager. I represent some of the members here tonight, residents. I have a brief speech and a handout to your secretary because I'm aware of the 3-minute time limit. The main reason I speak tonight is the severe safety issue, the condition of the Town Bank area beach access ways. Most of these pathways are considered very dangerous and unpassable. Only 3 in the cited 13 blocks, Englewood to Avalon, are safe enough to utilize today. The other 10 need immediate attention, again, to be safe. Even the north-south main sidewalk in many places is showing undermining the process of sand leaving the void under washout under the main sidewalk. I am very safety conscious, being the safety captain in the post office for 38 years and the safety officer at Town Bank Fire. I receive constant phone calls, messages, emails, even personal visits from members, area residents about what is the POA going to do to improve these access way conditions. My answers, as well as our members, respond with the NJDEP guidelines and permits, COVID, nesting birds, manpower shortages, name a few. It is now at the point where I receive reports of injuries, more and more. Just the other night, a resident fell on a pathway, showing me his leg scraped, wondering how and nothing got broken. While doing our beach cleanup, yours truly lost his footing and went down on loose sand on top of wood plastic sheathing placed on Elwood. If you remember the rescue call on Elwood Beach rock pile, rescue and fire department had a rough time getting the injured kid to Shore Drive safely by way of the bad pathways. Our elderly residents can no longer navigate these bad pathways. I don't know why we wait to make it all safe before something really bad happens. I've talked to our insurance company, the professional people, and everyone knows how that works. A bad injury results in a claim, lawsuits, and our insurance premiums will rise. It's just an accident waiting to happen at this point. In those discussions, it was even mentioned to close down the dangerous pathways. On July 4th, I exercised that right on Cliffside and Town Bank, fenced it off with the portable orange plastic fencing for those that were up in that area. However, the public tore it all down. I have pictures on my date stamped phone that was done. Our POA views are now pointing toward a few resolves, including nothing is decided as of this meeting yet tonight. POA can't continue with these unsafe paths. POA has contemplating shutting down any unsafe path with metal fencing. It'll cause another problem of visitor over the dunes. If the POA is forced to be spending large sums of money at this point, just thoughts on how we would fund or recover these improvements. Beach tags, hire checkers, hire beach security, install fencing. After 2 years of very little income, COVID, losing 2 whale days and all income in that time frame, this recent whale day saw a rain day, only the 3rd in a 20-year history, resulting in only 30 vendors attending. This was a terrible issue this year. So let's get the ball rolling. It's time for no more excuses, no more meaningless delays or meetings. We have to get this done, definitely by the beginning of the season of 23. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anybody else from the public want to comment? Mr. Laff, you have anything to add to this or not?
I do,
Okay.
if I can. Thanks, Mr. Rumscheid, for going up there and saying what you did. I know we've met several times. You would hear tonight in Cody's report, or from de Blasio, that we did get that permit back in the second week in August. As you know, we went down there probably before the summer last year and applied and added different things to that permit. Because as you know, those beach paths are very steep sloped and require different type of beach path maintenance as well as design. About a week and a half ago, Gary Douglas and I, with the engineer, went to the area, and we're coming up right now with a materials list for the ones that may need platforms, steps, and to try and get away from that, quick drop. So if we can extend it out with steps and platforms, of course, there are going to be steps on some of them, some platforms. I think we identified 5 that need pilings. So there's going to have to be piles drive there, and you and I have to discuss the expense end of that. So I do not have that material list in my hand, but we have a rough estimate. I'll try and curtail that to make it a little bit tighter. We'll get together and we'll talk about which ones we could start sooner and how they'll be paid for.
The reason for this meeting tonight with all these people is because I came back and reported at our meeting last Monday that you had personally called me on my cell phone, and you said we were going to have a meeting, that you would be calling me for the date and time, and I heard nothing, and that's what sparked everybody to be here. That's
No, I appreciate that everyone's here. We agree that there's a lot of beach paths in Lower Township that are privately owned. You're going to find some along the sections of Villas that aren't done at all, and south of Bayside Village in that area, in your association's area, they're owned by the Nature Conservancy. They wouldn't give us permission to do anything on those. So there's a lot of beach paths that aren't finished even in Villas because we don't own them. So we can't do any work on them. You guys signed off on the permit, so yours were included in the $300,000 permit that we paid for to change some of the pathways. We're trying to make some of them larger on our property, as well as identified some on your property that have to be a little bit wider for emergency access and things like that. And I think they identified 2 that can be wider, but we can't encroach on the dunes to do these. That's why we have to build steps and pile drive some piles to make it safe going down to those. There's a huge cost in that, so that's what we have to discuss.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Laffey. Anybody else from the public want to comment? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Bud Damager, 5 Brookdale Town Bank. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but safety was the issue when you put the sidewalk in, and all the people on our street on Brookdale, I'd say half of them are over 65, and we can't use the access way. So if safety was such a big concern for the sidewalk, and the township got that done, I would like to see a little more speed or whatever done so we could use the pathway without falling. It's really bad on Brookdale. There's probably a 3-foot drop. And I appreciate the gentleman there saying that. I don't belong to the association, but it's really bad. And if we can push safety for the sidewalk, we ought to be pushing safety for the pathways. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, Bill Greenfield, Villas. Probably got a couple in the Villas, too. You're going to have to do something with platforms or pilings or something, because Bates Avenue, there's hardly any beach left there in front of the path. So no matter what you're doing there with the paths, you still got the bigger problem of all that beach eroding away. So they're talking about that dredge stuff, putting it along there.
They've been talking about that for years. I've
Right.
gone up everywhere to fight for
Well,
that.
you can come up with all the plans you want. That beach is getting so eroded that no matter what you do,
It's
it's going to
Army
eat it
Corps of
up.
Engineers, yeah.
mean, Bates Avenue is blocked off right now because there's a big drop. New York Avenue, I've seen that pretty chewed away too. So, but, I mean, till they do something with beach replenishment or something, you're just gonna keep running into this problem. And I'm all in favor of the beach access pass, as you know. That's part of the problem too. You have to do something with replenishing those beaches or something.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Council. Thank you for all your support into our endeavor to try to get this finalized for our POA members. I appreciate your concern about our safety issue. I handle membership, and I get at least 5 emails a week about these access ways, people that have fallen, people that are concerned, and not sure how to approach this. And I respect your follow-up, but I also am not sure as to what the next steps are at this point. Can you help me with that?
It's,
Our next steps are, we just got the permit to change some of the beach passes in some sections of North Cape May and Cape May Beach Property Owners Association. We just got that in the second week of August. We weren't going to put any effort into the material list if they didn't approve what we were going to do. They just approved that at the end of the month. That would have been a waste of resources just to even have our engineers design those pathways. If the DEP wasn't going to allow us to do it, then it was a waste of time and money to even come up with a design to do that. We have an idea what we're going to do on a lot of them. Some of them are easy, but there's 6 or 7 that aren't easy. They're a lot like the beach path with the steps maybe at Shadeland Avenue or something like that. And they require a lot more money to build, so that's what we're putting our heads together, and I'll meet with Dean to go over that once we come up with a material list. I can't meet with Dean or anyone from the association until I have that material list in my hand so we can discuss finances. And that's where we're at this point.
So the timeline is that once you get the material list, you'll meet with Dean,
Absolutely.
and then Dean can follow up with the rest of our association, so I can update our membership on where we stand?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
all right, thank you. Anybody else?
Evening, Council. My name is Jim Rose. I live at 103 Town Bank. My question is that on Adelphia, that walkway was put in. They've made it go very straight, which I do not think is going to help with the beach erosion problem because the sand is allowed to blow straight up the walkways and it ends up on the street, ends up in the drains, and it doesn't get washed back down. The other thing is that at the end of Adelphia, on the beach side, the erosion over the wintertime caused the walkway to become elevated above the beach. And the public work people, they are great, have no complaints against them. They come out, they mow the lawn and everything else. They put dirt back in at Town Bank and the next street over Cliffside. And on Adelphia, they put down 4 bags of cement for people to step on to go from the higher elevation to the lower elevation. I don't think that's
I don't
right.
think we put that there.
Okay, it's there and
Okay.
that kind of thing. So I think that's something that's going to need to be addressed as to where the walkways end and the winter erosion that occurs on the beach. It gets replenished with the spring tide changes, but in the wintertime, a lot of sand gets taken off the beach. So I think that's something maybe to be addressed when you're doing your engineering as well.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Evening. I am a newly retired resident here. However, we had a house for over 16 years down here and just retired. So I've been kind of reading up and trying to figure out how things work here. And I see in the public trust document, there is a liability waiver from the New Jersey Landowner Liability Act. I, for one, have fallen on the pathways, and I just figured it would go away, but it hasn't. I have a problem with my shoulder. But be that as it may, just wondering what exactly the liability waiver from the New Jersey Landowner Liability Act is. Does anybody know that, or where we can find out information?
Ma'am, I'm going to, just so I'm clear, this is where sometimes things go south, okay? Because a lot of times we're asked questions at the council meeting, but we don't have all the answers here, okay? So we're reluctant to give you an answer when you have a question like this, you know? So I always ask these kind of situations that you contact the manager. He's here every day, all week long.
Okay,
Come in, he'll be glad to meet with you. Any questions you have, let him know ahead of time. He'll do the research, he'll provide all the answers to you. But for council to provide answers to questions sometimes is probably not a good idea.
okay. And we're talking about a materials list, about once the material list together, you'll be meeting with Dean. Do we have a timeline on when we can expect the material list to be put together?
The material list will be estimates at this point.
Right,
And then after that, there will be rough estimates, and then the design has to happen on what the actual cost will be, and it's very close usually. A lot of times, our estimates are very close to the actual costs.
I understand that. Do we have a timeline?
I don't right now.
Okay,
When
so
I
we
get that
don't
in my
know when
hand-
the list will be together.
Exactly. Probably in the next week, week and a half, I hope.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know, is it 6 months? Is it 9 months? Like, when can we expect? Because like they said, people are getting injured and people want to know what's going on. Okay.
Okay, thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, ma'am,
Thank you for our attention to the matter. I just want to know when
can you
say...
state your name and address for
My
the
name is
record?
Carolyn Acapinti, 16 Delia Road.
Okay.
The path is horrible. I've been a resident for 9 years. I've not seen anything other than mess. My mom lives with us, cannot go down there at all. She's 88, never gets to go to the bay because she'd fall. But I would like to know, when you talk about some being done, some not being done, what are the some that are going to be done, and who makes the decision on what's going to be wood and what's not going to be wood? Who makes the decision? Not the people. So somebody that apparently doesn't live there may make the decision, but it's my property too. And it's my pleasure to be able to walk my mother to the bay and have the beautiful sunset and the pleasure that I have. And it's being stopped because some deciding factor who is not on that block or not a resident in the area is going to decide what gets safe. And everything is safety, but nothing is safe. No path is safe. Sometimes the wood that you've put is not even safe. It's such a steepness, you can't even do anything. So who is on the list and who decides?
We're not going to provide the information tonight. That's what I just said. This is not a question answer period, okay? Because it's a collective decision. It's a cost. How much money is available to do so many access points, okay? So we just can't say, yeah, we're doing 29. We all walk out here tonight saying we're doing 29, and 29 doesn't get done.
So
That's,
when is the answer to this going to be? So there is no list here.
I say when Mr. Umshai comes in and meets with Mr. Laffey, they'll have a pretty good feel, and then what's going to be done.
Okay. But I just wanted to bring attention to
Yes.
what I did say. Nobody should have the right without the people to decide what is safe, and not even safe. It's our neighborhood. So you may decide that Del Air is not supposed to be with wood. Okay, but who makes you the deciding factor? That's what I want to know. Who decides?
Well, so decisions it's going to come down to money, and what we can do, okay? We have a township engineer that we pay. It's not an employee, we contract the engineer out. He's assisting the association to doing this work, okay? So we are doing a lot of things over and beyond that we have to do, okay? So there's some middle ground here we need to come to, okay? So we are working with the association to do as many as we can. I wish we could do everyone in the Lower Township tomorrow, but there's more to it than just pick a number out of the hat.
I understand, because again, I'm waiting 9 years. So I do understand. But I think at this point, I don't, my mother's 88 years old. I'm 65. I can't walk down there without a problem. And it's even walking up. If you go down there with chairs, you can't even get up unless you have a young person pushing and pulling like a train. So it's not about safety, it's about joy. And that's why we live there, because of the joy that it gives us to be able to walk to the bay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Gentlemen, nice to see you.
You too now?
My name's Skip Miller. I live at 604 Clubhouse. I wasn't planning on getting up, but I figured it's part of my job to say my piece. My grandmother bought here in 1948, so I've been coming down here for a long time. The beach pass thing, everybody's talking about this and that, and I've heard permits ran out, this. It's been going on for at least 3 years. Now, to my understanding, and anybody, I'd be glad if somebody corrected me, but my understanding was the POA had agreed with the township that they would take care of material cost for what it took in order to put the beach paths in, and the township would provide the labor. I may be wrong, but that was one thing that I did hear. Several beach paths have been done. Now, I'm not sure what the priority was on which paths get done, whether they were the easiest paths to do. I don't want to go into any other things that could possibly come into play, but now I understand that the permits are approved. Does it still exist that the POA is responsible and will take care of the material, and the township has agreed to take care of the labor as far as installation? And I would assume that engineering-wise, that I would say that we should be enough on the ball in the engineering department to be able to decide whether we need switchbacks or whatever it takes in order to make it a selective way to get to the beach. Thank you.
Thank you now. Anybody else?
How you doing, everybody? My name is John Shaw. I live at 813 Seashore Road. I own quite a few properties in Lower Township. I am also a member of the POA. I go to the beach at Town Bank. I've raised my kids there. I taught them how to swim, taught them how to sail. Now I'm doing it with my grandkids. This last 4th of July, during the fireworks, I had to pick up a lady that fell coming up the ramp. She was ready to get trampled on, but a bunch of people coming behind her, because when the fireworks go off, everybody gets off the beach all of a sudden. We got to straighten this out. Somebody's really going to get hurt, and then we're going to be screwed, okay? Not just me, just the POA, everybody. And it's not fair. The materials are sitting there at the yard. There's fencing down there at the Public Works yard. I see it all the time. I don't see the big deal here. You got the permits, we got to rock and roll. We got to do this before somebody really gets hurt. Everybody understands this, I guess, right? Everybody wants this fixed? Raise your hand. Okay, so there's a lot of people who want this done. Okay, we got to do this. We can't wait anymore. It's been 5 years. Okay? I'd like to see a little bit more movement than what we're getting, which is zilch, none, nunca. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? We'll close the public portion. We'll go to council comments.
Mayor, can I give it to the secretary?
Yeah, sure.
Just a little background history.
Yeah,
Who gets it?
I'll take
over here. I'll go first. Just some events coming up. October 4th is National Night at the high school from 5 to 8 p.m. October 7th is Military Appreciation Football Game at the high school, starts at 4:30 p.m. The Halloween Costume Parade / Pumpkin Festival is October 8th at the Cold Spring Village. And we're having Shred Day in front of the Recreation Department over here on October 15th from 9 to 12. And I'll go one more. We have a benefit concert at the Douglas Field on October 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. And that's to benefit the Lower Township Children's Assistance Fund. And there's two more items here. There's some flu shots coming up. October 22nd, they're a drive-through at the Cape May County Fire Department, and also Crest Haven and Cape May Courthouse. And then the Lower Township on October 21st, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., Lower Township Senior Center. And the same day, on October 21st, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Lower Township Rec Center. It's free flu shots. That's all I have. I'll go to Deputy Mayor.
No comment.
Okay. Councilman Roy?
None.
Councilman Coombs?
No comment.
Councilman Conrad?
No comment.
Okay, then we'll move down to a closed session.
Resolution number 2022-304, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. This is to discuss contract negotiations and attorney-client privilege.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
I make the motion. Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes. Thank you for coming, everybody. That concludes the meeting for tonight, okay?